Well, hello, sons of God. My name is Prophetess Keys Truth or Minister Keisha, and welcome to my podcast, Lit, where we're all about living in truth on this platform. That's right, we rightly divide words of truth that we may end up in all truth. Well, thank you for joining me once again as we dive into the esoteric hidden within the biblical text. I'm going to talk about on today. How the Babylonians, which we have come to know over time as being the Romans and the Greeks, according to the biblical texts, and how they have created all of these religious systems and those sorts of things from not just Christianity, but Islam and Judaism and all the rest of the children that followed behind the mother Catholic Church. But we're just going to dig in into Romans on today, and we're going to dive in and look at how they particularly tell us how they lied to us within the book of Romans. Um, that's so just really some boldness to me that not only would you create a religious system, but you would have the shameless audacity to put in a book that you would give to the people for understanding God and basically basic instructions before leaving earth and how to transcend this realm. And you'll tell them within the book that you lied to them, but this is not being talked about. But Prophetess Key's Truth gonna talk about it because we're always lit. We're always living in truth. So I just giggled a little, but this is very serious to me because again, we all have to transcend this realm and enter into the afterlife, and we need to know how. The biblical text from the plagiarism is really telling us how, as they have took it from the spiritual system of Kemet, but the Babylonians have whew, twisted it all up and they have us confused. But let's dig into the text on this evening. Unmasking the liars of Romans 1:18 through 20. The hidden theft of the ancient mystery system. Romans 1 Verse 18 through 20 states, "For the wrath of God is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men who suppress the truth in unrighteousness, because what may be known of God is manifested in them, for God has shown it to them. For since the creation of the world, his invisible attributes are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made, even his eternal power and Godhead, so that they are without excuse." So Romans 1:18 to 20 is telling us they know all of the truth all about God because they came into ancient Egypt, or what we may know as Kemet, some of us, and they stole these things and rewrote them and gave them back to us, regurgitated them back to us. But they had exchanged the truth of God for a lie. And God says, say, they have no excuse for what they have done. This passage condemned those who suppress divine truth. Who are these people? That's what I'm asking. Who are, like I say, they have a shameless audacity to tell us within the biblical text that they lied to us, from Daniel to Jeremiah to Habakkuk. But the church is not talking about these things. In the age of Aquarius, that we supposed to be talking about these things. The hidden history of how the Roman Catholic Church, in alliance with Greek philosophers, co-opted, corrupted, and plagiarized the ancient African spiritual system of Kemet, or what some may know as Egypt. But Romans 8:19 speaks of a coming awakening, for the earnest expectation of the creation eagerly waits for the revealing of the sons of God. And this teaching connects these two scriptures: who suppress the truth and who are the sons of God that creation is waiting for. The ancient Kemetic spiritual system held divine wisdom, teaching enlightenment, divinity, and the Ka, which is the spirit, the Ba, which is the soul, the Ankh, which is the ascended consciousness. These teachings were stolen, corrupted, and hidden by the Greco-Roman world, particularly through Greek philosophers Plato and Pythagoras, who studied in Egypt but stripped the teachings of their original meaning. The Roman Catholic Church, which removed esoteric knowledge from the biblical text, enforcing dogma over divine wisdom. The liars are those who took the sacred Kemetic knowledge and rebranded it as their own, the Babylonians, people. And they replaced direct spiritual enlightenment with institutional religion. Christianity, Islam, Judaism, Buddhism, all the isms and the schisms. Because religion doesn't do anything but divide and conquer and binds us and keep us looking outside of ourselves. They hid the mysteries of the kingdom within biblical parables, preventing people from accessing higher consciousness. Because if you can't understand the riddle, you read the Bible as a simple, literally, as Jesus told, for example, as Jesus told Nicodemus, you must be born again. Well, he literally thought that he must go back into his mother's womb and come out again. But it was speaking allegory. It was speaking of symbolism of your mind. You throwing off everything that you thought that you knew and putting on a new mind, relearning, being able to be teachable, gaining true and knowledge that's needed for this thing that we call life. So there was preventing people from accessing higher consciousness. The Catholic Church and the Greek scholars are guilty of suppressing the divine truth, making the masses spiritually blind. If the ancient wisdom was hidden, who will restore it? The sons of God that his, that's who were restored. Romans 8:19, the earth is crying out for us, and we are awakening and manifesting, and we're now speaking and bringing back out the truth that was hidden by the oppressor. The term sons of God does not refer to religious followers, but those who are awakening to divine knowledge. The world is waiting for these enlightened individuals to reclaim and reveal the lost mysteries. I like to say, Mother Nature, she's crying out for us. She's like, oh my God, my babies have been rocked to sleep, knocked over their head and given this wine, this false indoctrination. They didn't remember who they were, but now I'm resurrecting their minds. I'm bringing these dry bones back to life again. Ezekiel chapter 37. For the kingdom of God is within us. Luke 17:21. Kemetic teaching of the Ka and the Ba merging for divine ascension. That's what the kingdom of God within us. That's what Luke 17 is talking about. Jesus' resurrection is connected to the Osirian mysteries of Osar and Osiris, symbolizing rebirth into divine consciousness. See, all of these things was new back in Egypt before Plato and Pythagoras. All of these things that we know in the biblical text that has been rewritten and twisted up, it was known by Pythagoras and Plato and all of these different crooks that came into came and did what they done to the ancient Egyptians. Is just atrocity. It's like when some of our ancestors was brought over here on slave ships. But the parable of the sower, Matthew 13:3-9, knowledge hidden in the allegory, just as a Kemetic wisdom was hidden in the hieroglyphics. God has hidden this knowledge. That's what I love about God, that even in the evil that was being done by the Roman Catholic Church, the Council of Nicaea and Constantine and all them putting the Bible and stuff together, God saw fit that he would still put the truth He would make them put the truth right there in plain sight for those who had a spiritual eye and a spiritual ear to see and hear what the Spirit is saying to the sons of God, or what the Bible would call the churches, which we are, the temple of the living God. So it's talked about how the wisdom was hidden, just like with the Kemetic wisdom hidden in the hieroglyphics, or what's known as the meta neter by the ancient Egyptians. Romans 18:19 prophesies an awakening, the restoration of divine wisdom, and that's what's going on now. That's what Daniel 12 verse 4, with the whole chapter of 12, but that's what it's all about. It's speaking of Daniel. Open back up the book of truth in the age of Aquarius, when the knowledge increased and people are running to and fro, not just to and fro on vacations and stuff, but running to and fro to learn the biblical text, to really gain true understanding of this thing, and not just these little nursery rhymes that Pastor Do Right may be giving us, or these same sermons or whatever. But the sons of God are those who break free from the deception and reclaim the true spiritual mysteries. These are the ones of Ezekiel chapter 37. Can these dry bones live? Well, yes, they can, evident, because we are awakening from being dead in our trespasses, as the scriptures say. So it's not talking about a literal dead people rising from the dust. It's talking about the sons as we are being resurrected, our consciousness, because we are being born again spiritually. Being born again, that's mean when you come out as a baby, you don't know anything. That's the purpose of being born again, not holding on to your tradition and religion of what you was formerly known. That's old wineskins, and you can't put new wine into that. The hidden truth of Kemet must be reclaimed to restore spiritual enlightenment. It's time for the light bulb of our pineal gland, our consciousness, to come back on as it did in the upper room experience in Acts chapter 2 of the biblical text. The truth is written in the stars, encoded in the sacred text, and hidden in plain sight. It is the time to unearth the stolen wisdom and reclaim the divine inheritance that was once known to our ancestors. There's nothing wrong with knowing yourself and knowing thy ancestors. Even in the biblical text, they acknowledge their ancestors, the Jews, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So what's wrong with me honoring and knowing and calling out my ancestors' name? It's time to wake up from the fairy tale and the deception they have brought us into. Like I just said, the truth is written in the stars. Even the Christ in the Bible said, don't rejoice that the enemy is subject to you. Rejoice that your name is written in the heavens as one of having authority. We are star seeds. Our lights was kicked, our starlight was kicked into these bodies. And which is the connection of God, because God is in everything, and now we're human beings have a divine spirit experience, or divine beings having a human experience. Whew. The time of revelation has come. The suppressed wisdom must be restored, and the true sons of God must arise to fulfill Romans 8:19, bringing light where darkness has been previously veiled. It's time to come from behind the veil. It's time to wake up. It's time to be open to the teachings of Christ. Because he said, those who are open to my teachings, Matthew 13, I'll give more understanding. And to those who not, those who have come to a conclusion, even what little they think they have, I'll take away. Because you're saying you know everything about everything anyway, that it is to know about God. So there's no need for me to give you no more. So I might as well take back what I have, because you're not open. And since you're not open to knowledge, Jose says, since my people perish from a lack of knowledge, and since you're not open to it, since you reject knowledge, I reject you. And that's why he said, who are you, you workers of iniquity? I never knew you. Religion is not trying to get to know God in this manner, by knowing thyself as God having a human experience. They find that foreign and blasphemy, just like we see in the scriptures, because when you call yourself a son, you make God your father, you make yourself equal with God. You call God your father, saying that you're a son of God, you make yourself equal. And the church frowns on that, because they can only see you by the flesh. They can only see you by your human nature, and they won't look past that and see you as a spiritual son connected with them. Make us one as we are one. And I hope I have said something again that has brought some enlightenment to your understanding. Like, subscribe, and share this message as Prophetess Keys Truth signs out.